all the tags we've seen so far have really described the structure of the HTML document. So these tags, such as the paragraph tag, the heading tag, the image tag, they don't actually describe presentation, they describe structure. The ones that we're going to look at now actually are really used just for presentational purposes. So we're going to show you how to change, for example, the font, change the color, change whether an item is in italic, whether it's in bold, etc. And quite a lot of these things have now been taken over by something called Cascading Style Sheets, but I'll show you how to do it in a basic way within these HTML documents, and the Cascading Style Sheets will introduce to you in the more advanced video tutorial that I've done. From now on I'm going to be using a different type of editor. So far I've been using Notepad, and now I'm going to be using something called Dreamweaver. I mentioned it earlier on when we were talking about editors, and Dreamweaver is an editor that actually highlights the syntax. If you notice, I've just opened up the same index page within Dreamweaver that we've been editing using Notepad, and you'll see that all the tags are blue. Or the paragraph tags, for example, they're blue, image highlighted in a purple colour, the anchor tags are in green, and it just makes the code a little bit easier to view and pick out tags. It also auto-completes quite a few things for you, and we'll see that as I start creating code. Everything that we do from now on we can also do using Notepad, as all they are text documents, but hopefully you'll see some of the advantages of using one of these types of editors. Okay, let's start with some of these presentational items. The first one I'm going to introduce to you is something called the font tag, or font element. And as you see, as I start to type in Dreamweaver, a drop-down list appears showing all the tags that are available. So I'm going to use the font tag. Okay, and we open it perhaps at the beginning of that sentence, and we close it there. And font has a wide number of attributes available to it. There's a list within Dreamweaver of all of the things that you could use. We're going to use, first of all, the color. Okay, so we're going to use set the color of this text. Now we can either, within Dreamweaver, we can pick a color and use what's called hex notation, which is that color, for example, there. And hex is a way of describing colors that are used in a lot of photo editing packages and paint packages. If you don't know the exact number that relates to the color you want, you can use a color keyword. So for example, if we wanted it blue, we could just type in blue there. Okay, well, let's save that, and let's now preview it within Internet Explorer. And there we go. So we've added that font tag, and we've changed the color, and it's now changed that initial heading to a blue color. Perhaps we actually also want to change the size of the font, and so we can put more than one attribute. So we can put the size, and we can change the size to let's try 10. And there we go. That's now changed the size of the font as well. And you'll notice that this overrules the standard that is set for H1. Okay, if you remember, H1 displays a text with a far larger font than normal, and this font tag will then override that. You'll also notice that if we just get rid of the size attribute and go back to blue, then it still inherits the size of the H1 tag, but it's no longer black. So we've overruled the color of the text, and we've overruled it by using blue. But because we haven't changed the size within our font tag, the size still is inherited from the H1 tag. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change some of the other text on the page using other presentational elements. So let's go for bold to start with. So the element for bold is just a B in brackets, and we just need to close it. We'll just save it within Dreamweaver and then preview it within HTML. And you'll notice now that the word like is in bold. Perhaps also we want to change that word so that not only is it in bold, but it's also in italic. And the element for italic is I. So that word will now both be in bold but also in italic. There we go, and you'll see it there. So we can add a number of different tags around the text. We could also perhaps change the size and colour of just the first letter. So to do that, we're going to have to use the font tag. Okay, let's change it to red. And I think I said that I actually just wanted the first letter, so let's remove the end tag from the end of the word and we'll put it there. So hopefully you can see how we can add a number of different tags to different parts of our document, and you can see how it influences the look. So go back to our page, and there we go. Yep, we've got the first letter in red, and let's now also increase the font size. There we go. The whole word is in bold in an italic, and that first letter, the letter L, also then has been changed to a colour of red, and the font size is a font size of 5. But it also inherits both the italic and the bold that we've applied to the whole word. Other presentational items that you might come across are the horizontal rule, which is just HR. And what this does is it just produces a long line across the width of the page. HR does actually have some attributes that we can assign to it. So we could assign, for example, a width to it, and we could say the width is going to be 100 pixels. There we go, and you notice that it's also centered by default. The final presentational item or element that I want to introduce is the line break. So we've seen how we can create block elements using the paragraph, but we can also just add effectively a carriage return by using the BR tag. And the BR tag just creates this line break. Let me just show you what I mean. So let's perhaps, after the word page, let's just add the element BR, and we'll save that. And then hopefully after the word page we'll have a line break, and then on my website will be on a separate line. So we haven't ended the paragraph element, but we've just kind of added a presentational element there so that it appears as we want it